Hey, how's it going? So I don't know if this is going to work. Let's take the glasses off. Okay, that'll be better because you won't have to see the reflection. It's kind of dark. I couldn't. The last time I used this, the second video. Oh, hey, welcome. This is going to be the third video in our installment series. Third installment in our series of videos about pictures, about old pictures that come inside of unmarked Payless envelopes, and this is the next one. This is number 3. This is the third video, 3 in a series. I'm hoping that the things will work better here tonight when we do this episode. It's kind of dark in here, and last night when I did this, it was kind of pretty much the same lighting, and so I clicked on that filter thing to brighten it up, which it did. But then I think that had an effect on the focus of the pictures. So tonight we don't have any filter, but it looks darker than it did last night because that filter lightened it up. But let's get going. Let's get right into it. Welcome. I'm glad you're here with me. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoyed looking at these pictures that are totally random. These are just going to be pictures of me and family or friends from completely random different points throughout my life. They're out of order. I don't know what they are. I haven't pre-looked at them or anything. That's the whole idea. That, excuse me. The idea is that I don't prepare for any of these pictures, and then when I pull them up, maybe one of these pictures, and that's what's been happening, because some of the pictures, excuse me, I'm sorry, some of the pictures have been kind of funny to me because I forgot they were even in here. I forgot they existed. I hadn't seen them in years. I probably haven't seen some of these in years and years. So we're just going to jump right in. This first picture, first of all, on the back, there's some writing, my mother's handwriting. It says North Fork, Easter 1972. So this is in North Fork, California. This is at my cousin's ranch in the mountains. And that's me in the background, kind of leaning on the table. We have our Easter baskets. So we always did Easter every year in North Fork. That's my mom's Plymouth station wagon on the, out front. They've got a big long driveway. Their driveway is a road basically here. And so this is me in the background leaning on the table, probably got a piece of candy in my mouth. And then in the front, in the blue bathrobe, it's my older cousin Jay, and then behind him is my younger cousin Cynthia. And they're right near my age. Like Jay's maybe 3 years older than me, and Cynthia's maybe 1 year younger than me. We all grew up together. That was it. First one was Jay and Cynthia and me on Easter. The next one is a Black Hawk. He's doing something, coming down and either dropping off a fuel blivet or picking up a fuel blivet. That's what it looks like to me. This is my friend Stuart, and it looks like he's reading a book. At this point, we're living without a tent. At this point, we're living in the desert with no tent, and we're just living underneath a camouflage net. That's why in a lot of these pictures, it'll look like this, because there's a camouflage net over the top of us. This is another picture of that same resupply Black Hawk from the last video that got left out of the series. I guess there's 4 pictures that I took in this moment of this helicopter coming and resupplying us. That's what's happening here. We're on top of a pretty high mountain. If you look down below, we're up very high. Here's one of these weird old Polaroids, right? When is this from? The early 2000s? This is my family. My mother and my brother, and my 2 sisters, and then that's me with the brown shirt. This is me right here, obviously. At this point, I've seen enough pictures of me. Hey, this is one of those t-shirts I told you guys about that I drew for, this is the one I did for Susio. So this was a personalized custom t-shirt. Where's that reflection coming from again? Well, this is a bummer that you can't see this very well. So this is a personalized, customized t-shirt that I made for my friend Susio. And it says, honey, this is what he wanted. So this is exactly what Susio wanted. He said, here's what I want. I want it to be a picture of me getting off the airplane with Saddam Hussein's head in my hand. And I wanted to say, just like Ricky to Lucy, honey, I'm home, right? And that's what Susio wanted, was he wanted to be like, honey, I'm home, right? And so that's what I did. And then I did I'm home. I did home in an American flag with stars. Can you see that? Honey, I'm home. See that? And that's Susio right there, Saddam Hussein's head. This is on a white t-shirt, I guess. That's what the guy wanted. Here's a cobra. This is weird. There's like a piece of plastic. I bet you this camera was inside of plastic to keep the sand out of it. This is my ex-wife's handwriting from 1987. It says Ruth. It says Ruth and Cooper's girlfriend. Halloween 1987. So this was a Halloween party at my friend Dean's house, and those are a couple girls that were at that party. Girlfriends of friends of mine that were also at the party. And I'm guessing that these pictures were taken by my wife, who we were all at this party in costume. This is a costume party. This is the desert, but it's a flight line. You can barely see the helicopters. See the helicopters down there on the ground that are kind of just naturally hidden? This is me not really doing what it looks like I'm doing. I'm not really pissing on the ground right there. I just have poured, because this is in front of our tent. I poured water there on the ground, and I'm making it look like I'm urinating, but I'm really not. And what that is on the ground. Remember how, like, you saw in maybe previous videos, if you're a returning viewer, you've seen pictures of me standing next to the sign, holding the little flag and pointing at everybody's hometowns. Well, that is over here. So this is the front door of the tent right here. And then on the other side, there's another mound just like this. And on that mound is that sign with everybody's hometowns. But on this mound, this side, I built a grave. I piled up sand right here to make it look like a grave. And then I made a headstone. You can't at all see it. Can't see it, but I think it says something like Saddam Insane or So Damn Insane, and then there's like a RIP or something. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, that was a, what do you call it? Low hanging fruit, I think is what you call that. The art, the the trench art that I was creating at this time, it wasn't like I wasn't exceeding any boundaries. This is another picture of Daniel. Daniel, I don't know, he was just around all the time. I must have took a bunch of pictures of him. He's a photogenic guy, and he's a character as well. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, when we got these pictures developed, he got doubles of all of this stuff, and I think he really loved all these pictures of himself. He got a kick out of it. And this is me. There's some sort of big satellite dish in the background there. That's why we stopped here and took this picture. Because we're like, holy shit, look at the size of that satellite dish. It's like a 30-foot high satellite dish in the background, just in the desert, not even a road close to it. You see that? There's like nothing there. So we're like, holy shit, look. And now and then Daniel, he's all, take a picture. Yeah, right. See, so Daniel took a picture of me in front of the monster satellite dish, and then now I just took a picture of Daniel in front of the monster satellite dish. Here's another Black Hawk helicopter and dropping a fuel blivet or a water blivet. This is probably fuel. You know, a blivet is just a word. It's an aviation word for a large rubber container that's sealed that holds fuel, jet fuel or gasoline or diesel fuel. These are collapsible, made of really thick rubber, really thick rubber. They're really heavy. And this is like 800 pounds or something, or 1,000. I don't even know how many pounds these things weigh, but they're really heavy. But they're tough enough that this thing can be dropped down onto the ground in the desert, and then this fuel will never leak. It's inside of this big rubber ball, and then there's hoses that the POL guys, POL, what is that? Petroleum, oil, and lubricant. So there's these guys that's their entire job is just taking care of certain maintenance on these helicopters. Not all the maintenance, just like the basic stuff I just told you. The POL to us used to mean just the guys that fueled the helicopters. So these guys' entire job is just handling this, just doing this all day long, every day, just preparing all this stuff and making sure that we have enough fuel for all the helicopters while we're running all these missions. So their job is super important. POL is a very important job. My friend Bird ended up doing it. He became POL. He switched. Speaking of Bird, here's Bird with a piece of that snake from last night. So we found the snake, or the snake found us, I should say. A snake found us. You can see what our camp looks like. There's no walls, there's no tent, there's no floors. It's just sand. We're sleeping on cots, and we've dug holes into the ground. And then we're covered with netting, camouflage netting. So animals can just come and go whenever they want. And so this snake came in, and Jim killed it with a shovel. Jim chopped its head off with a shovel, and then we played with it. We took pictures. Ken put it in his mouth, took a picture. That was it. No, we didn't play with it. Bird took a bet. You saw Bird looking at it, being funny with it, and we chopped it up on the hood of the Jeep, and then we ate it. We boiled it in some ramen with a trioxin tablet over open fire. This is me and Bird shaking hands. It's so difficult to see. What even is that? This is Stuart looking at that snake on the hood of the Jeep. Remember I told you there's the hood of the Jeep. There's a piece of cardboard on there, and Bird is skinning it and cutting the guts out and chopping it up, and we're going to eat it. We all ate it. This is Jim shaving, and he put shaving cream inside of his mouth. I don't know why, but he did. This is another picture of Daniel in front of the aid this is the aid station. So we're medics here. Daniel and I are medics, and we tried to make it look. This is after after we did this. We built this little shelf and hung it over the side. This is outdoors where we're at. This little shelf has been handmade and hung over the side of some sort of like corrugated metal container that is all blown up, and it's empty on the inside. One side is blown out. It's all fucked up. This is the only flat surface. It's not messed up on this little piece of corrugated metal, and so we built off of it like that. You know what I mean. This is that chaplain dressed up as Santa Claus. This is Christmas. I'm pretty sure this is Christmas Eve. So he showed up dressed as Santa. Our chaplain had packed the Santa Claus suit before we left, and then when Christmas came, he broke it out. On Christmas Eve, he dressed up as Santa Claus, and he went around to everyone's tents and like visited, just like in the old days, when the fire truck used to drive through the neighborhood, and honking its horn and stuff. He came through ringing his bell and stuff like that, saying Merry Christmas on Christmas Eve, and everybody was coming out and smiling and laughing with him and taking pictures. It was really nice. It's kind of choking me up. This will unchoke me. This is me. I'm on a horse. I'm 5. This is at our house in San Jose. This is me. I'm in a helicopter. Not really happy. I don't know why I'm looking like that. I'm probably just a resting Porgy face. There's somebody giving me rabbit ears to the side of me. I don't know who that is. But that's me on the helicopter, and we're flying around. This is a baseball ticket from Sunday, June 19th, 1994. It's the San Francisco Giants versus the Chicago Cubs. How are the seats? How much were the seats? My gosh. This is a $6 ticket, you guys. This is the Family Pavilion, which is pretty good seats, really. I always liked the Family Pavilion. The thing I liked about the Family Pavilion, this is Candlestick. Look, Candlestick Park, you guys. This is Candlestick Park. The thing I like about the Family Pavilion at the old Candlestick was that it was a covered. The reason why they call it Family Pavilion is the idea is they wanted it to be so that you could have little kids there, like babies and little kids that run around and play or that fall asleep halfway through the game. So the Family Pavilion is covered. So it's part of the park where, like, there's an upper deck, and then there's the seats that go down to the field, and underneath that upper deck, there's these seats that are completely shaded from the sun, so you don't get any of the sun, and you don't get any of the cold wind like you do up top or down below. So that's the idea of the Family Pavilion, and it's a nice. What was it? $8? $6. $6 ticket, you guys. This is a flyer. There's a stack here. We're just going to look at all of them. These are flyers that were dropped from aircraft down onto the ground to encourage Iraqi what would you, I don't know, the enemy, Iraqi army. They weren't even all the Iraqi army sometimes. Sometimes they just looked like dudes to me, you guys. They didn't really look like soldiers. Most of them didn't really look like soldiers. Only a few did. But anyway, these guys that were fighting, that were trying to kill us, and that we were having to kill because they weren't surrendering, we were dropping these flyers out of the helicopters. And on the back of this, it tells them what they need to do to not get blown up by us, because we were systematically annihilating them in the desert. Trust me, we were. And so this is telling them not to hide military emplacements near mosques or playgrounds, because we might blow them up. That's what that's saying. Same thing, surrender or die. Same thing, basically surrender or die. And look at this little caricature of Saddam Hussein, and then bullet holes through an Iraqi flag, huh? More stuff on the back. I guess if you can read Arabic or Farsi, then you could pause this and read it, and maybe you could tell us exactly what it says in the comments, because I'm just paraphrasing. I don't understand any of this. I just know the purpose of why these were made, and I know who was dropping them out of the airplanes or the helicopters, and it was us. So this is another one. So these are probably being made by some sort of contracted people in Arabia, I'm guessing. This is probably contracted by, I'm not sure. I mean, these weren't being drawn and created by American GI cartoonists, because this isn't us. I don't think. I'm not really sure. That's really interesting. I hadn't really thought of that. Let's look at this one. Is interesting. It's kind of weird. I guess it's showing it's telling these guys to surrender is all what's going on here, I believe. Telling them to surrender. Surrender or get a big bomb dropped on you. Surrender or we're going to blow you up with some jets. We'll blow you up with jets if you don't surrender. And that's kind of it. That was the last one. Oh, this is cool. This is right from that to this. Wow. I love the what is this? We call this the magic of random play. Back in the old days at my friend Dave's house, he used to have like a 10 CD disc changer or something. And at the time, we thought a 10 CD disc changer was like a real big deal, right? Because you were getting random play, and so you never knew what track out of those 10 CDs that were in there was going to play. So we called it the magic of random play when like Deadbeat Club by the B-52s would come up. Then that was our theme song. And we'd be all the magic of random play. So in this instance, the magic of random play is showing this picture of me and this gentleman that I met on the street in Bahrain. I wish I could remember this guy's name, but I really don't even think it was interesting. I think his name was something like Mohammed. I really do. I think that he didn't even have, I think he had an uninteresting name. But the thing that was super interesting about him was that he spoke perfect English. And he was a professor in the United States. And he had been a professor at UT. Talked to this guy for like an hour. So Ruben and I are in town doing business, and Ruben has to go inside and handle something. And I'm just standing out on the street, and this guy walks by, this little tiny, look at how small he is. This little tiny old man, and he's like 80 years old. So he walks directly by me, and as soon as he gets, and I look at him, and I was really, what's the word? Gregarious? Ballsy? In my younger state. And in this persona, I would just stop random people and talk to them and ask them if I could take their picture. And that's what happened right here. I look at him, and he comes closer to me, and all I need to do is wait for him to get within speaking distance. And I said, excuse me, sir. And he stopped immediately. And I said, hi, can I take your picture? And he said, are you American? And I said, yes, I'm American. And he spoke perfect English. And so then we talked and talked and talked. Ruben came out and took this picture, and then we all went to tea. Ruben and I and this old man, we talked for, like I said, about an hour. It's very nice. It was very cool. This is Bird inside of a helicopter. This is Daniel again in the desert. This guy must have loved having his picture taken. Take my picture. This is me and Daryl. Early on. It looks like we got fresh haircuts and clean new brown t-shirts and clean new fatigues. Here we are again. Same two guys. That's me and that's Daryl giving shakas. And look, I needed a haircut. This must have been right before that haircut that was in the other picture. Look at how long my hair was. It was funny. This is a big yellow ribbon that was tied around a tree that was in somebody's front yard in Pacific Grove, and then somebody mailed this to me, and it wasn't even a member of my family. It was just somebody randomly in Pacific Grove that knew that I was here. Because at this time, this was kind of a thing, and I don't know, there was probably like just 2 guys or 3 guys from Pacific Grove that were like in this war, and so everyone at this point in America in 1990 and 1991 was very patriotic and supportive of us. Eventually, we're going to get to some cool stuff that I have. I used to get letters and care packages from total strangers all the time when I was over in the war. Some of the letters I kept. Some of the things that were in the care packages, I kept some of that stuff. It's here somewhere. I'll get to it eventually. And some of it was heartwarming, and it was really nice. People were really, I don't know, patriotic and kind to us. Wait. Did we go all the way through? I lost track. Wait a minute. There's that. We're at 23 minutes. What was the last picture we looked at? It was a helicopter. There's Stuart. We made it all the way through, you guys. Look at 1969, 4.5 years old. No, that's wrong. That's 5 or 6 years old. Let's tell the story of me on this horse. So here's how this happened this day. This is our front yard in San Jose. One day I'm like sitting in the living room, like watching Bewitched or something, and the doorbell rings. So I go to the door, and there's this old man with this pony standing on our porch. And he says, "Is your mother home?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Can I pet your pony? Can I see that horse?" He's all, "Yeah, of course. Go get your mother." So I go get my mom, and my mom comes out, and then he pulls out this book of all these pictures of all these little kids sitting on this pony. So my mom gives him $10, gives me this little red vest, those little chaps, that little cowboy hat. He sets me up on the pony. We go for a ride. You know, he walks me up and down the street a little bit, you know, just like to the corner and back. And I had already ridden horses, like real horses at this time. I was just excited that it was this pony on my front yard, you know. And so then he comes back, and then he takes a picture, and then how would this have worked? This is how do they? What 1970 technology? This isn't a Polaroid. This is a regular picture. You know, she erroneously wrote the wrong date. That says 69 and 4.5. I believe this is 1970 and I'm 5.5. I just think that she's off by a year. So anyway, I don't know what the technology was, whether he had to come back and he came back in person and gave the picture to her. I don't even know. The same way that this happened is how I started taking accordion lessons. So the same thing happened. Ding dong, I answer the door, and there's this old man with an accordion. And I'm like, wow, what's that? And he's all, it's an accordion, son. Would you like to learn to play the accordion? And I'm all, maybe, I don't know. Is an accordion cool? And he says, I'll show you how cool an accordion is. And he starts on my front porch. He's like playing some badass accordion music, right? And like it's like that scene from the Wolfman with Bela Lugosi and at the gypsy camp. And so the guy's real good, and so go get your mother. My mom comes, she buys me accordion lessons. I've got an accordion, this big giant thing in a big red leatherette box or something, and I didn't naturally take to the accordion. I loved it at first, and I was really into it, but then it required so much. I didn't have the focus. I mean, must have been 7. It's difficult. I didn't have the focus. I was already kind of fragmented and moving in different directions, and really, I didn't want anything that was too, regimented, like having to study and practice like that. I was too little, man. I wasn't into it. But the accordion was cool. I wish I had stuck with it. I could be a virtuoso. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. We made it all the way through. Look, there's Jaybird, and there's Cynthia, and there's me on Easter morning. Easter morning, look at us. We really had a beautiful Easter egg hunt here. They had horses. Speaking of horses, and where I first started riding horses, it was at their house. They had a bunch of horses. They had horses that had cool names, like Apache and Comanche, Cherokee. All the names that all their horses had Indian tribe names. It's pretty cool. And they were also very beautiful, big, like nice horses. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed looking at more pictures. This seems like it wasn't that great of a one. I don't know. It wasn't that much to this. What did we look at that was cool? We looked at those creepy flyers from the war that we used to drop on the enemy and try and convince them to surrender. We looked at me on the horse. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.